Welcome back, everyone. I've got a little 3X video here for the pads. There's a big thing in the review world where there's a lot of top-of-the-line gear, and not everyone can necessarily get the access to that. So this is something a lot more people are going to be able to afford. It's available at every age group except for maybe youth, as far as selling them online. So I'm going to give you guys a brief little rundown of the pads here. And then I've been using, not these specific ones, but another set of these for about 1.5 years now. So I'd say I can speak on them pretty well. So getting into this, the only difference between these and the Hyperlights is these aren't going to have the Cortex skin. So you're not going to slide quite as well as you would with the Hyperlights, and the rebounds are not going to be as hot. Other than that, structurally, strapping wise, same exact pad. On the back, there's some material differences. Other than that, it's essentially the Hyperlight pad. So my specs here, senior medium or 34. These do not come with a plus, and that is not an option on the 3X. So that's something, if you get Hyperlights, I believe you can add a plus to the thigh rise if you want it. So getting into these here, it's a break below and above the knee on the inside. No external brakes at all here. They do get pretty soft with use if you want to break these things in, but with the curved composite on the inside, they always spring pretty much right back. I've broken these down to the point where they don't fully spring back every time, but if you want to keep them stiff, you certainly can. The biggest feature that was new on these is the StabilaFlex knee block. So on the Machs or the Ultrasonics, they have that Stabila slide knee block, which isn't going to move at all. You won't even get this much wiggle out of it. That really isn't going to move at all. This gives you a little bit of flex, a little bit of motion, so it's closer to a traditional knee block. You're going to have all the same straps as the Hyperlights. So you've got the removable knee strap that can go down here, or you can keep it up at the knee. I go across like an old person. So sorry if you're more modern than me. The knee wing is fully removable, so if you want this thing gone because you know what you're doing, unlike me, you can take this thing off and throw it away. I don't recommend that, but do what you want. Here you got the Professor strap, the top of the calf strap that comes with these, so no matter where you get these from, whether it's Bauer or a retailer, you will be sent the Tune Fit Connect strap here for the top of the calf. I love using it. If you put it on tight, it helps keep your pad higher up on your leg, and I love a lot of clearance down by my skates, so it's easier to push. So this thing is awesome. And then moving down here, we have the outer lower leg strap here, as well as the adjustable Tune Fit 2.0 strap. I believe the Mach is now on the 3.0 strapping system, but there are two adjustability points in here, upper and a lower, so you can tighten or loosen this as you please. I wear my pads pretty much as tight as possible. I love that connected old school feel. And then just one other quick thing on the build of the pad I forgot to mention earlier. Soft boot. This thing is, again, can be broken in kind of a preference, but it starts pretty soft anyway. And then just last thing here that I'm running on mine personally, old school toe ties. I feel that it helps when you're pushing off your push from the RVH. I go boot on instead of skate blade or pad in. So I feel like there's less of a loss of energy when I have these than the elastic bungees that come on the pads. And I mentioned earlier that this strap, the Professor here, comes with the pads. They will also send you the boot strap that can be added with this little section up here on the top of the pad, or the bottom of the pad, sorry, that I personally, again, don't use. The bootstrap is kind of becoming extinct a little bit, if you will. You really just don't need it anymore. The pad holds itself to you with all the other straps. So now, kind of just for my experience with these in general, they've been great. I've had no durability issues, really at all, especially on the fronts of the pads, which I'll get to in a second. But on my last set, I did have an issue with some ripping here on the calf wrap down here. It was rubbing on my skate. There wasn't really anything I could do about it. So I just left it, and it kind of opened up and some of the foam came out. That was really the biggest durability problem I had. It can be luck of the draw sometimes, so kind of going to the front here. I recently cleaned these, that's why they look so new. I've been using them for about 4 months, but no skate cuts, but it's also, I've had a skate come and hit the pad, so that's kind of the crucial part of that, is if it happens or not. But no denting in the foams. I know that's been a problem on some of the older Bauer pads. No denting, no yellowing. There's been a little up here, but I've had buddies with older Bauers where the whole face of the pad turns yellow basically. That has not been a problem with these at all. My last set was black, so that wasn't really even a question. But durability wise, these things have been great. There's gonna be your usual wear like any pad, but that obviously is what it is. So then if we kind of look at the performance, the rebounds are not gonna be like they are with that Cortex skin. They're definitely closer to a traditional pad. That being said, I think there's a lot to where a goalie puts his or her rebounds. Even if you have that Cortex skin and you send pucks flying, if you send it flying right to a guy and he can one-time it in, it doesn't matter how hard the rebounds come off, it went right to them, right? So these, you can place rebounds, hard shots, they're gonna come off these harder than I'd say a Vaughn pad would. They really fly off. But you also have those occasional shots that kind of just hit them and die a little bit, so it's a little inconsistent in that regard. But yeah, other than that, I mean, because of that curved composite, I think it helps with that, but still it's not going to be the pro level rebounds quite. So that kind of is what it is. Moving into more of the slidability of these, they slide really well. Even though they don't have the same material, the Cortex, it's still a really hard sliding surface. That's pretty much just plastic that I'm hitting, or whatever is in there. It's rock hard. And what you're trying to eliminate with sliding is friction. So a lot of these materials, they're textured or whatever. With Brian's OptiSlide or whatever it may be, the CCM Speed Skin, it reduces friction with the snow and everything, so they slide better. Something else that can help with that is having a really hard sliding surface. It's smoother, something soft is gonna accept more of those bumps and stuff, so you're gonna really ride through them. Whereas something like this, that is as hard as it is on the inside, you're just gonna slide right over that stuff. So coming from a Vaughn, these things slide unbelievable. I know it's not some fancy sliding surface, but you glide right over everything like it's not even there. Snow buildup has never been a factor with these. In fact, you can overslide with these, I find, just as easily as you can with some of the pro pads with all the sliding materials. So slidability is definitely not a concern with these. And kind of staying with that inside of the pad here, the Stabiliflex knee block along with the balance plate down here on the inside. Those are huge difference makers for me as far as sitting in your butterfly, dropping into your butterfly. For people who really like that satisfying smack of it hitting the ground, you definitely get it when you drive your knees down. As far as getting that seal, I mean, the seal is pretty much perfect every time. There's no over rotation, under rotation with these at all, which can be more strapping based, but when it's sitting, it sits flush. Your balance in the butterfly is noticeably better with this setup than with traditional pads with, you know, less of a pillow here and, you know, the multiple knee blocks to create the stack. Having a single block has seemed way better. You sit taller, it doesn't break down over time. I mean, this thing is as solid as it was when I got it. And I train pretty often on the ice, so there's been a lot of time for these to break in. And this knee block has been solid the whole time. Yeah, I mean, there's probably some little nuances to critique here and there, but at the end of the day, it is a second price point pad. It's not gonna be perfect everywhere. Even the pro models aren't. So those little things, you know, if you're spending $800 less than you would on, say, a Hyperlite, there's gonna be some small things you may not love. But I mean, these things are really awesome as far as what they provide. You know, just with how many of the pro options are in this pad. I believe these run, you know, $900 US, and it's missing a skin. That's the only difference between this and the $1,800 pad. You know, if you look at Vaughn, you're not getting nearly as many features of the pro pad as you are in these, or you go to Brian's. I mean, any of these, maybe you get a sliding surface and stuff, but you don't get all these features of the pro pad like you do with these. So I think that's huge, and a huge bonus when you get these, and good on Bauer for doing that, making all these options available at the lower price points. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of the brief overview on these. If you have any questions on them, please let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have. As I said, I've been wearing another set in these ones for about 1.5 years now. So I can speak pretty well to how they perform. I've played pretty high level hockey in these, seen a lot of high level shots, and there's been no issues at all with them, knock on wood so far. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Have any questions, please let me know, and we'll see you guys in the next one.